The mission itself in Iraq, it was initially tough because I'd left home when my third son, just about right after he had been born. Now, I felt very guilty about leaving my wife with 3 young children. It just so happened that I was a duty officer for the following day. But there was another officer, another lieutenant that was there, and she got the days mixed up. And I'll never forget it. She said, I didn't know there was 31st day in August. I had no idea that I had to go out tonight. I said, sure, I'd love to go out at night. I went out that night and we saw a convoy coming down the road. I was in the vehicle with Sergeant Spade, and he said, hey, LT, he was like, watch this convoy coming up the road. I was like, what do you got? And he was like, I just got a feeling, I got a feeling something's going to happen. And sure enough, an IED went off and hit one of the 18-wheelers. So as we set up a perimeter around that truck and Sergeant Manning had hooked up that winch to the truck, all of a sudden someone launched an RPG. But when the IED initially went off, it just shredded the gas tank of that 18-wheeler. So the entire time, gasoline was pouring down the road, just guzzling out. And when the RPG hit the truck, it ignited the entire road and everything was on fire. Trucks, personnel, everything was just burning. Sergeant Spade was totally engulfed in flames right in the middle of it. I remember him yelling and screaming for help, and I ran through the gasoline, through the fire, and I got to Sergeant Spade. When I turned around, I noticed a wall of fire. As I ran through the fire, then I got caught on fire. I guess from rolling him around on the ground and running through the gasoline, I had become soaked with the gasoline. I was engulfed in flames on my right side, and I just burned. And I thought initially my clothes were on fire, and I realized that it was my skin that was on fire. I continued trying to put myself out, and finally I went back to the ditch that I originated from, and I jumped down into the ditch and just kind of buried myself down into the ditch. The medic there was in such shock by seeing us pretty much smoldering, smoking in the middle of the road that he couldn't even call out the 9-line medevac. So I said, hey, look, we're only about 2 miles out, so let's just get in our vehicles. So we drove 2 miles back. I went into their cache and they began treatment on me. They put me in a medically induced coma, and then they flew me to San Antonio to Brooke Army Medical Center. I remember waking up and my wife and my father were there in the room with me. I'd been burned about 30-something%, maybe 33, 35% of my body, mostly on the right side. Full thickness burns, but 3rd degree burns, some of them down to the bone. Skin grafts, multiple skin grafts. The other physical therapy that was just absolutely excruciating. If you would have asked me then, I would have told you no. I'm not going to fully recover. I'm never going to get, a full-time job. I won't be able to support my family. I just didn't think so. I thought that the pain was too severe. The burns were too severe. The road ahead of me was too difficult. I will tell you the unemployment process that I went through was probably one of the saddest times of my life, the saddest time of my life. I don't even think me being hurt compared to the disappointment that I had with trying to find a job. I filled out over 100, close to 200 applications. If you count the time from when I first sent in the first resume or application to when I actually got accepted, it was probably really close to a year. For me, if I would have never gotten this job, if I didn't have the family structure that I had, where would I be? And, I'm just not sure. And I'm just one voice. So if you hear me, times mine by a couple thousand, and you'll get what the climate is for the injured soldiers in America.